23. That is the number all of Washington and the political world is now looking at as we head toward the midterm elections in November. I'm Wes Kosova, Bloomberg's government and politics editor, and we're going to take a close look at how Democrats plan to steal those seats and whether they can on this edition of TikTok FAQ. Today, I'm joined by Bloomberg's Congress editor, Joe Sopcich. Thanks for being here, Joe.
You're welcome.
23 seats. So let's dig in and see where those seats have to come from, because the Democrats aren't just going to wake up the next day and say, hey, did we wind up winning it or not? They're already thinking about what are the seats that are most important to them. Joe, what are the seats that Democrats are most concerned about and the ones where they think that they can make the biggest difference?
The biggest difference, I think, will come from a lot of the suburban seats that are now held by Republicans in a variety of states, including New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Those two states in particular have got a lot of ground where Democrats can make some inroads. They're suburban, they're wealthy. In New Jersey, particularly, been hit by the limits on state and local income taxes, and so they will be looking at those races to make some sort of sure bets that they can pick up, say, at least 6 of the 23 that they need.
So a lot of the races where they want to steal seats from the Republicans are ones where they already feel like they're going to have them. They don't have to do battle in 23 or more districts.
Right. Well, there are actually about 60 seats that are competitive, that the Democrats can make some decisions on how they spend their money. They're going to want to get as many as they can of those. They only need 23, but 30 is better, 40 is even better.
The 23 is just what they need to get the majority in the House. The president tends to lose about 30 seats just on a historical average. If there are 60 seats in play, it seems like there's the possibility that they could wind up with more than 30, and that's where we get into this blue wave that we keep hearing about.
Right, and they're very difficult to predict. If we've been looking back at some of the previous ones, 2006 and in 2010, there are a lot of different conditions. But what they do have this year, Democrats are competing in far more races than they have in the past, and there are some real key votes that they can get dealing with as they are able to exploit sort of changes in demographics, anger among women in particular, and real Democratic energy.
So we're obviously not going to go on a tour of 60 congressional seats, and not even 23, but maybe just give us a little walk around on a few of the districts you think are most interesting to watch, if you're kind of paying attention at home, the ones that you may want to look in on, and tell us why maybe they're significant.
The first one that I would be watching on election night is in Virginia, suburban Richmond, 7th District, Dave Bratt. This has been a long time Republican district. Democrats haven't really competed there in the past. This year they've got a very strong candidate in Abigail Spanberger, who is a former CIA agent. The district's become more suburban than rural and exurban. The influx of those people will mean a difference for Democrats. In Iowa, the 3rd district, it was interesting because it was one that Obama won in 2012, and then Trump came back and won in 2016, both by narrow margins, and it mixes a bit of urban, rural, and suburban areas. Again, the Democratic candidate is part of the template that Democrats are using, somebody, a female candidate, a young candidate, and sort of a fresh face, and she's challenging the GOP incumbent, David Young. And you can also look, there's again a New Jersey seat that's been held by a Republican for 24 years. He's retiring. It has leaned toward Trump and went for him in 2016 and Romney in 2012, but it's very high income, and that suggests that this isn't Trump country. They've also got a good Democratic candidate there who's been a strong fundraiser, who'll be able to make a big challenge. And of course, you have to look at California, the Southern California districts around Orange County and Los Angeles that have been Republican strongholds for years. in particular California 25. That has went for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and again, the Democrats are putting a young woman who's a newcomer to politics up against the incumbent, and it's also a district that has been undergoing some demographic changes. The non-Hispanic white population is only 43%, so that will be one that Democrats are keying in.
So you mentioned a district in Virginia that went for Obama and then flipped, went for Trump in 2016. Are there a lot of those districts, ones where you could start to see where places that went for Trump may be changing their mind about him?
Yeah, there are a number of those districts spread around the country in swing states, Iowa, Virginia, and several others that will be sort of critical to seeing what the mood is on Trump in the country.
Is there any place where Democrats should be doing really well, but it looks like Donald Trump is starting to persuade people to vote Republican? Yeah,
there are actually two districts in Minnesota that have been long held in Democratic hands, and they are going to be, they're open now. We've got Minnesota 1, where Trump won by 53% of the vote, and Minnesota 8, where Trump won with 54% of the vote. Those are traditionally Democratic districts, but they went big for Trump, and those are the two districts that Republicans are actually hoping to pick up.
Bloomberg's Congress editor, Joe Sopcich. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
You can follow Joe on Twitter at JoeNewsGuy. Thanks for joining us on this edition of TikTok FAQ. Join us next Tuesday and every Tuesday in the build-up to the elections as we answer the questions you are asking about the midterms. I'm Bloomberg News Government and Politics Wes Kosova, and don't forget, you can always get all your updates 24/7 on Twitter at TikTok.